So what happens when someone who absolutely loves being alone meets a person who just can't stand it? Today, we're going to break down the anatomy of a friendship that, on paper, should never have worked. This is the story of Sola and Basura, and it's a journey that really shows how we can find a connection in the most unexpected ways. Right from the get-go, we get this core idea. Sola found her solitude boring. We're introduced to this character who seems totally self-sufficient, right? But deep down, there's this little flicker of, is this it? That hint, that little thought that maybe books aren't quite enough. Well, that's the quiet tension that's going to kickstart her entire journey. All right, so let's step into Sola's world. It's a quiet life, a pretty isolated one, built almost entirely around the comfort she finds in books. I mean, her whole life is like this carefully built fortress against being bored. She lives by herself, takes care of everything on her own, and books are her shield. But you know, a fortress can start to feel like a prison. That routine becomes both her comfort and her cage, and that leads to this huge turning point, this internal push where she just decides, nope, I don't want to be a shut-in anymore. And that first step outside her bubble leads her right here, a cozy little cafe with free books. It's honestly the perfect bridge between her world and the outside one. It's a public space, yeah, but it feels safe because it's all about the one thing she loves. And that small win is all it takes to get her to come back the next day.
But just when she's settling into this new, quiet routine, it's about to get completely turned upside down. The story's catalyst is about to walk through the door, this energetic, disruptive force that is going to crash right into Sola's meticulously organized world. And the contrast between them is, wow, it's immediate. It is night and day. On one side, you've got Sola, mumbling, awkward, and just plain annoyed. And on the other, there's Basura, just all energy, giggles, and this desperate eagerness to talk. It's a classic case of opposites attract, or in this case, opposites repel, because you can just feel Sola's instinct to shut down completely.
And then, this happens. Out of absolutely nowhere, Basura just asks, "Want to be friends?" Now, for an introvert like Sola, this is like a social hand grenade just went off. It's so direct, so hopeful, and so completely out of left field that she's just stunned. Her internal monologue is literally, what the heck? But here's the turn. Despite her internal panic, despite every fiber of her being wanting to run, Sola feels just a little bit sorry for Basura, who seems so incredibly desperate for a friend. So she reluctantly agrees to talk, and this simple yes leads to a discovery that neither one of them saw coming.
And this is the moment everything changes. See, Sola makes a total assumption. This bubbly, cheerful girl must love books like pretty princess adventures. But she could not be more wrong. It turns out they share this love for the dark, the gloomy, the macabre, and that becomes their bridge. It's so much more than a common interest. It's this shared understanding that completely shatters all of Sola's stereotypes about this girl. Just as they're connecting over these dark books, Basura hits her with this incredibly genuine compliment. Now, for Sola, who had never ever been called pretty before in her life, this is just as shocking as the offer of friendship. She gets all flustered and awkward, but you can tell this unexpected kindness is really starting to chip away at those walls she's built up.
And now the story shifts. After they hang out a few more times, the conversation starts to move from just fun chats about books to the real emotional core of their budding friendship. We're about to see the incredible vulnerability that's been hiding behind Basura's constant smile.
So Basura thanks Sola for being her friend, which Sola thinks is a little weird. But this gratitude, it's coming from a place that's much deeper and much more painful. So what's the real reason she was so desperate to connect with someone, anyone? And then she just lays it all out there, the heartbreaking truth. Basura confesses that no one has ever wanted to be her friend, not even her own parents. And then she explains that's the reason for her name. Basura. It means trash. Just let that sink in for a moment. Her name, the very thing that's supposed to define her, is a constant, daily reminder of her parents' rejection. And suddenly it all makes sense. Her desperate need for connection, her over-the-top positive attitude, it's all a shield.
Sola's response is instant, and it is powerful. She just blurts this out, and you can tell she's even surprising herself. The girl who loved solitude, who never complimented anyone, immediately jumps to defend her new friend. This isn't just a big moment for Basura, it's a huge moment for Sola. It shows she has this incredible capacity for empathy she probably never knew she had.
And that moment of shared vulnerability, that's the glue. That's what solidifies their bond. It's where Sola's emotional transformation really becomes complete. She didn't just tolerate someone new, she found a reason to care, and to care deeply.
And in the end, it all comes down to this simple but incredibly profound truth. The whole journey started because she wanted to avoid being a shut-in, and it ended with a real, meaningful connection. She's not just Sola, the girl who reads alone anymore. She's a friend.
So what's the big takeaway from their story? Well, it kind of gives us this beautiful roadmap for how connection happens. It shows that friendship often just starts by overcoming our own inertia, just breaking that comfortable routine. Next, it's about finding that surprising common ground that shatters our assumptions. But the real change, the magic, happens when we embrace vulnerability. And finally, responding to that vulnerability with empathy. That's the stuff that turns a casual acquaintance into a true friend.
Which leaves us with one final thing to think about. Sola's entire world was changed by someone she initially wanted to get away from. So the question for you is this: when is an unlikely friendship, one you totally never saw coming, completely changed your world?